Hi, I'm Pip Waller, and this is Being Human, where I talk about various things to do with being a person, having a body, feelings, a mind, and so on. Now, this is a continuation of talking about dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter. The thing that I'd like to talk a bit more about is about its role in addiction. So, because dopamine, it's involved in pleasure, but it's not that it gives us pleasure itself, and it's not that without it we don't have pleasure. But when we're anticipating something, something pleasurable suddenly happens, we get a dopamine hit. And it's thought that how that sort of operates in terms of our survival or our development is like it's good to go after things that feel good. Right? You know, it might be like that helps us to remember where the lovely berries are or how we managed to get that honey, something. So we get these dopamine as a reward neurotransmitter is to do with, maybe food, sex, actually even, we're going to see somebody that we love. We're going to have a little baby, in our arms. We've heard somebody's got kittens and we love kittens. So we got this, we know that feels good to have a little kitten and stroke it, or a puppy or whatever. It's not the dopamine that makes us feel good. The dopamine gives the feeling of anticipation that we know we're going to get something that makes us feel good. So addicts, when we get addicted to things, we get hooked into a situation where we need more and more and more in order to feel normal. And then without it, it's like that becomes our normal. And without it, we don't feel normal, and that means we feel bad. Now, personally, I believe, and it's my experience and my observation, that addictions almost always have got something to do with a lack of connection, like a lack of being able to be with ourselves, a lack of connection with ourselves, a lack of connection with others, and also often we just feel so bad. Our normal is pretty bad, so we're looking for something to make us feel better. But there's this way that dopamine gets us hooked in. And there's a lot of kind of pseudoscience now around about dopamine where people think like as if you get addicted to dopamine, and that's just not the case. Dopamine's not a drug, it's not a bad thing, it's not, without dopamine everything would be fine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. Without dopamine, we actually couldn't operate our body at all. We'd be completely catatonic. So really essential to have dopamine. And if one of the problems with the addictive stuff is we get into, it's like we're feeling low, and instead of coming either just finding a way of being with how we're feeling and finding a more healthy way to move that feeling into something that feels better, or actually it might be we're feeling low because there's a problem that really needs dealing with, and we actually need to sit with how we're feeling and work through it and actually come up with a real solution. But if we can't handle feeling low, or we can't handle those feelings, and we're always reaching for something to change how we feel, maybe it's, Facebook, or maybe it's the sweeties, or maybe it's porn for some people, or sex, or maybe it's gaming, many, many different things. Maybe it's alcohol or drugs. If we're always reaching for something to try and not feel the way we feel, then we get set up with these addictions. Particularly easy to do that if it's a substance. But it's not that we become addicted to dopamine. It's just that our anticipation of pleasure gets hooked into a kind of unhealthy activity. So where this ties in with my previous talk about dopamine is that what we really want to do is get ways that our dopamine is just naturally increased by doing things that actually make us feel good and are healthy. So we have to learn to relax, we get more exercise, and actually perhaps we just need to have more fun. So I'm going to be talking more about addictions other times, but for now I'm going to say one final thing, which is we're setting our children up to be addicted to things by not allowing them to have their feelings. So I would suggest that all of us really try to stop doing that. Don't be mean to your kids when they're crying or upset. Don't shame them, but also don't try and shut them up by sticking a dummy in their mouth or giving them sugar or even giving them boob if they're not hungry, because we're getting set up to always need something when we're feeling bad instead of being okay. It's okay to feel. I'm going to say it's okay to feel bad. It's okay to have those feelings that are more challenging or more difficult. So I'm Pip Waller, this is Being Human. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe by clicking the button below and tell your friends and spread the word.